What is going on, Uprisers? Today's video is going to take place in the Heart of Gilenoir as I show you how you can AFK Helwyr. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the notification bell so you guys know when I upload methods like this next. So if you are ready, grab your gear, let's dive in. As for the requirements, 80 plus magic is needed so you can actually start an instance to fight Helwyr. We will also need 90 plus combat skills. We will be using necromancy, so 90 necro, 90 defense, and 90 constitution. 95 plus prayer. We will be using curses, soul split, and sorrow. We will also need 98 plus archaeology, and I will go over the relics here in just a moment. 73 plus summoning, we will be using a Blood Reaver Familiar, and 107 Helwyr, so you can have your Elder Overload salves. We'll also need tier 7 necromancy tree unlocked, so you are able to use the Conjure Army ability. As for the quests, of course, you're gonna need the Temple S Intestine to be completed so you can have your curses unlocked. As for the recommended, I would highly recommend having Invention unlocked so you can put some perks on your gear, but it is not a mandatory thing. You can get it done. After that, we do have 118 archaeology under the recommendations, since you can get the conservation of energy relic power, which will go hand in hand with your death skulls. For the gear, we were going to be running with the giant mixture. For the helm, we will be using the tier 90 death dealer. For the body, we will be using the death warden tier 90 cinderbane gloves, the death warden tier 90 for the legs, and the tier 90 death dealer for the boots. As for the aura, we will be using the vampirism aura since it will go hand in hand with the Blood Reaver and our poison setup. As for the cape, we will be running with the Zuck cape. More necromancy boosts equals faster kill times. As for the necklace slot, we will be using an Essence of Finality. If you do not have it, you can always use an Amulet of Souls, which does increase your accuracy. For the ring, we will be using a Reaver's Ring. For our ammo slot, we will have a Grasping Ruin pouch inside of the slot. You don't need ruins for this method whatsoever. I only have it there for the extra prayer bonus. For the weapons, we are using the tier 95 weapons for this. Without them, you're not going to be able to make this an AFK-able method since the mushroom clouds do pop up over you eventually. You want to be able to dish out as much damage as possible for all the healing to come back to you. For our pocket slot, we do have a Scripture of When Godbook, which will be activated through all of the kills. As for the inventory, we do have our potion reservoirs inside of there. We have the Elder Overload salves, so they can go inside of the potion reservoirs. Weapon Poison plus, Powder of Penance, Corm Incense sticks. We do have a Luck Enhanced potion here. Don't need it. I only brought it along just to try to help me with some of the drops. We do have a Super Restore flask in here just in case our prayer does drop. We also have a Blood Reaver Familiar, which goes hand in hand with all the poisoning. And below that, we have our Nexus to hold all of our necromancy ruins and ectoplasms, which we are going to be using the ectoplasms during this method. We also have our Enhanced Excalibur in case things want to go a little south, and we have an Ancient Elven Ritual Shard, which will help sustain a bunch of your prayer that you will need throughout all the fights. After that, we have our Spring Cleaner, since you will be able to get some things here and there with the drops from Helwyr. As for the Relic Powers, Conservation of Energy, Persistent Rage, and Death Ward is what I was using. You don't need Conservation of Energy, but Persistent Rage and Death Ward are mandatory for this setup. Now, if you don't have Conservation of Energy unlocked or you don't have the level for it, your next best thing would be Fury of the Small, so you gain more adrenaline while doing basic attacks. Now for perks, the only perks that I was using was Crystal Shield 4, Absorbative 4, since it does help a lot with a bunch of different mechanics that Helwyr does do. But again, it is not mandatory for you to have any kind of perks whatsoever or even Invention unlocked to get this as an AFK-able level. Now, if you've never been to the Heart of Gilenoir, on screen you will see a map exactly where the hole is to go into it. It is just southwest of Ponivnich or all the way south and a little east from Al-Kharid. Now, if you've already gone into the Heart of Gilenoir and have at least taken out one of the bosses that's inside of it, then you know you can go to Ward's Retreat, set up a portal, and you'll be able to go inside of the Heart of Gilenoir, of course, to the designated boss. But before we can actually go into an instance itself, you have to go around and collect 40 kill count of all the Serene Warriors that are just located just around the instance area for Helwyr. The best way you can do this is you just go a little north from Helwyr. You will see a bunch of Serene Warriors fighting other factions in this small little section. So you just sit here with an aggro potion if you really wanted to, and collect as much as you can before you go and take on Helwyr. Now, if you've already have done this and you have some reputation, you can knock down the kill count to 20 instead of 40, which is a huge bonus for if you're going to do this more and more consistently. Now, once you get your kill count and you go through the first barrier, this is where you're going to activate all of your stuff. Your Vampirism Aura, your God Book, you turn on your Potion Reservoir, you sip on your Weapon Poison +++, you do both of your Powder of Penances, you overload your Quorum Incense Sticks, you max it out to 1 hour, you sip down your Luck Enhancement Potion, and you summon your Blood Reaver. Once that's all said and done, you're going to go through the barrier and you're going to go exactly to the spot on the map so you don't get double hit by mushroom clouds, which is super key to making this an AFKable method. As for the Revolution Bar, you will be using the Conjure Army, Command Ghost, Death Skulls, Resonance, Command Skeleton, Soul Sap, Sacrifice, Reflect, Scythe, Bloat, and Volley of Souls. Now, since we do have defensives inside of this Revolution Bar, make sure your Lesser Bone Shield is activated. Other than that, this Revolution Bar is pretty self-explanatory, but I would like to point out this might be one of the only Revolution Bars out there that you use Bloat. But other than that, all you have to do is you have to pay attention to your Potion Reservoir and your Weapon Poison +++ during this entire time, because if either one of those go out, you are going to die. And I'm not going to emphasize that enough, so you want to make sure that your Potion Reservoir is at least active the entire time, and make sure you swap over to the new one when your old one does run out. Now, if you are having trouble with this, you can put scrolls inside of your Blood Reaver, but set your Blood Reaver's auto to about 10. And then you're going to have to use Prism of Restoration every once in a while once your Blood Reaver's health does go down to a certain amount. But that method is so much more expensive, and you want to try to avoid it as much as possible doing this. Now, for the expenses and the possible profits that you can make out of this, you're looking about doing 53 kills per hour at Helwyr. For the expenses, you got to include your Ectoplasm, your Powder of Penitence, your Quorum Incense Sticks, your Weapon Poison +++, your Blood Reavers, your Elder Overload Salves, and all the little extra stuff like the Potion Reservoirs and all the behind the scenes with your Divine Charges if you're using Invention. With all that being said, you're looking at about spending a whopping 3 million GP per hour for Helwyr using Necromancy. Now, I did Helwyr for 1 hour, and I made a little over 1 million GP on just the normal drops, let alone the extra from the Essence and the Dormant Enemy Body. Of course, you can always get the Wand Orb or the Crest of Serene through this method, but again, we're not going to add it to our possible totals because everybody's RNG is different. And with all being said, you're looking at spending 1.9 million GP per hour to be able to AFK Helwyr using Necromancy. Now again, this does not follow along if you got lucky with one of the drops that Helwyr does give. But I would take this into consideration that you can use this method if you have a ton of GP and be able to chase a log that you may have been chasing for a long time and tired of going in for one kill, going back to War's Retreat, regaining all of your inventory and running back in. So if this is something that is useful for you, please let me know down in the comments. But that is coming into this unsatisfying video. If you guys have found anything useful or interesting, make sure to let me know down in the comments and hit that like button. If you guys are brand new to this channel and like to see more AFKable methods like this, whether it's profitable or not, make sure to hit that sub button and hit that notification bell so you guys know when I upload next. But until next time, guys, I hope you stay safe. See ya.